Ijeoma sat on the edge of her bed, dialing Henry's number for the 100th time if she were to be counting. He had promised to call once he reached his destination. But hours had passed and there was still no word from him. Her chest tightened with unease. Finally, the line connected. But it wasn't Henry's voice. It was a lady's voice. Ijeoma assumed it must be his sister. With a cheerful tone, she said, "Good evening, ma. I'm Ijeoma, Henry's friend. I just wanted to be sure he got home safely. Please tell him to call me." There was a long pause. Then with a sigh and a shaky voice, "Is this a joke? Henry is dead. It's been 4 days now." In the background, Ijeoma heard muffled sobs and the shuffle of mourners. The phone slid from her hands, hitting the tiles with a sharp crack. Her mind went blank. Her lips parted, but no words came. Henry? Dead? For 4 days? But he had been with her. They spent the weekend together. No, 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 no. That's not possible. She must be mistaken. She called again. This time, the woman picked up, her voice thick with tears. Desperate, Ijeoma pleaded, "Please, just give me a minute to describe the Henry I'm talking about. I think there must be a mistake." Through trembling lips, she told the woman how Henry had spent the weekend with her and had only just left that morning. After listening quietly, the woman broke down completely. She confirmed, "That's Henry." Her thoughts dragged her back to 4 months earlier. The rain had poured without warning, trapping her under a corrugated shed at a roadside junction. That was where she first saw him. He had come to take shed too. Tall, smiling as though he had known her all his life. They exchanged pleasantries and soon their conversation flowed with ease, as though they had known each other for years. Ijeoma was surprised at how much they had in common. And the more they talked, the more she enjoyed his company. When the rain finally eased, she almost wished it would continue. As if reading her thoughts, Henry suggested they have dinner together. She agreed, and they found a nearby joint where they shared a local dish, laughter, and long conversations. That evening became the beginning of something beautiful. Somehow, Henry found his way into her heart, breaking down the walls she had built. Ijeoma had never been lucky in love and had sworn to take a break from men, from relationships. But Henry was different, different in more ways than she could count. They saw each other almost every day and found joy in the simplest things. Sometimes they would take evening walks, talking and laughing about everything and nothing in particular. Other times, they cooked together, arguing over who the better cook was. On weekends, they visited local joints, sharing suya and roasted corn. They watched movies and football matches too, playfully arguing over favorite teams. Even ordinary moments like shopping in the market turned into fun. And at night, after a long day, they would sit quietly on the balcony, just talking about life, dreams, and the future. With Henry, every day felt light, easy, and full of laughter. He had wanted her to meet his family immediately, but she insisted on waiting a little more. But she saw the depth in his heart, a deep certainty, the steady assurance of a man who knew where his heart belonged. It was what broke her resistance. She felt safe, chosen, and loved. Convinced he was truly the one, she agreed to meet his family. Together, they decided that after his business seminar in Abuja, they would travel to meet his parents and begin the next chapter of their story. That Thursday morning, they spoke as usual. Henry told her he would call once he got to the park. Later, Ijeoma tried reaching him, but it wasn't connecting. The network was bad. She assumed he was already on his way. Several hours later, a knock came at her door. When she opened it, she was stunned to see Henry standing there. The seminar was postponed. She was surprised, but equally happy to see him, until she noticed the strangeness. Henry was a well-known foodie, always the first to ask for a second plate. Yet this time, he barely touched his food, no matter how much she urged him. When she asked, he simply said he wasn't feeling fine. His body was cold, even under a thick sweater. Other times, he would just sit for hours, staring into nothing, as though lost in a world she couldn't see. Sometimes, she caught him by the window, gazing out with a distant look, lips moving as if whispering to someone invisible. No matter how warm the room was, he always seemed to shiver, as though chilled by an unseen wind. He refused going to hospital, saying he would be fine. At night, she woke to find him sitting at the edge of the bed, staring at her in silence. "What's wrong?" she asked nervously. "I just want to remember every detail of you," he whispered. His words should have been sweet, but something about them chilled her. He wouldn't even step out, not to his favorite joint, not anywhere. He wouldn't even do the things he loved doing. The weekend that was supposed to be romantic turned gloomy instead. He seemed distracted, distant, as if forcing himself to be present. Then, that morning, he told her he was leaving, said he was going to see his family. We surprised her because they had planned to go together. He promised they still would. He hugged her for a very long time, held her like he didn't want to let go, whispering, "I love you," over and over. Then, with a heavy sigh, he said, "I wish we had met earlier." She hadn't thought of it then, but now it all made sense. The realization of the past days struck her like a cold wind. She had spent the weekend with a ghost. Her chest tightened, panic flooding her veins. She bolted out of the house without even locking the door, barefoot and still in her nightdress. She went to her friend's place, trembling, breathless. The moment she got there, she collapsed into tears. Her body shook, her voice broke until it turned hoarse as she cried and cried, trying to make sense of the impossible. Unfortunately, Mercy, her friend, traveled the next day and she returned to her apartment alone. Grief consumed her like a shadow. She cried for days, her sobs echoing in the silence of her room. At night, the air grew strange. She could swear she smelled his cologne lingering faintly, as though he had just walked past. The bed would dip slightly, like someone had lain beside her. At times, she felt a soft brush against her skin, like fingers that weren't really there. Each night, the air grew colder, heavier. She wasn't sure if it was grief or love refusing to let go, but she knew she was not alone. After days of battling with herself, Ijeoma finally made up her mind to visit Henry's family. Maybe, just maybe, it will ease the weight in her chest. Perhaps it was even what Henry would have wanted. His sister had called earlier, but Ijeoma had been too broken, too shaken to explain anything properly. Now she knew she had to go. She needed to tell them everything that had happened, no matter how impossible it might sound. With each step towards their home, her heart pounded. She didn't know if they would believe her. She didn't even know if she fully believed it herself. All she knew was that she had to try. Ijeoma's palms were sweaty as she walked up to Henry's family house. Her heart pounded with each step, as if it wanted to leap out of her chest. By the time she knocked, her knees were weak. The door opened and it was Henry's sister. She looked tired, her eyes swollen from crying. Henry's mother came out slowly, her wrapper loosely tied, her face hollow from grief. When her eyes met Ijeoma's, Ijeoma broke down completely. She knelt at the doorstep, sobbing uncontrollably. "I'm sorry. I didn't know. I didn't know he was gone." Ijeoma cried, her words tumbling over themselves. They helped her inside, and between tears, she narrated everything: the unexpected visit, the cold hands, the long hugs, his strange silence at night. The room was silent when she finished, the weight of her story pressing down on everyone. At last, Henry's mother sighed heavily, tears rolling down her cheeks. "My son loved you. Even death could not stop him from coming to you. Don't cry, my daughter. At least be comforted that you know his heart was true." Ijeoma went home feeling lighter, as though a heavy stone had been lifted from her chest. For the first time since all the unfolding events, she could breathe without choking on grief. Nights were no longer filled with fear. She no longer startled at every sound or trembled under her blanket. Instead, she sat calmly in her room, sometimes staring at the empty chair where he once sat. And though she knew he was truly gone, her heart whispered a different prayer each night, begging him to come again, even if just for a minute. Henry was led to rest in the red earth of his hometown. Ijeoma stood quietly among them, her eyes burning with unshed tears. When the wind brushed against her skin, she shivered but did not cry out. Deep inside, she knew it was him, watching, staying close, or perhaps it was truly his final goodbye. Life was no longer the same. The emptiness Henry left behind was vast, and Ijeoma doubted if anyone could ever fill that space again. One morning, a wave of nausea hit her. She brushed it off as malaria, but something tugged at her mind. Quickly, she checked her calendar. Her heart skipped. She was almost a week late. With trembling hands, she reached for a test strip. Moments later, the results stared back at her. She was pregnant. The news felt both haunting and comforting. Henry had given her more than memories. He had left her a part of him. Ijeoma's love story had crossed the boundaries of life and death.